So the watch prices have been on the decline with no real stop in sight. This was surprising and somewhat unexpected because after the rise in the prices in some of the hot models we have seen lately, the way the prices have plummeted wasn't something many saw coming this way. We have been hearing for a while now that the bubble will burst someday and the artificial scarcity that we see and experience is going to come to an end soon. So is this the same bubble that might have popped? Or is it that the objects in the rear view mirror are appearing closer than they actually are? If you've been following the watch market and the dynamics of how the watch market is operating in recent years, the trend and the decline in prices we have seen is actually nothing surprising or something that was never seen before. Another insight to share is that after the highest high of each year, the lowest low of the next year is continuing to remain higher, which overall would tell you that the market is actually still incredibly strong. Now, I will clarify that I'm no economist, accountant, or a finance person, and I'm definitely not an investment advisor to give you an advice. So what I'm sharing with you are just my observations and analysis from what I've seen over the years. Let's take an example of Daytona Panda. And if you don't remember from last year, the Daytona prices shot from $25,000 to up to $40,000 during the same time and before the Watches and Wonders event. This was obviously fueled by the rumors that the Daytona will be announced to be discontinued during 2021 Watches and Wonders event. I think the word discontinued we use in watches is a bit misleading. A better word is replaced, because the watches are not really truly discontinued, rather replaced with the newer and upgraded models. But the word replaced doesn't help with inflating the prices of watches, so we just keep using the word discontinued. Right after last year's Watches and Wonders event, when the Daytona was not replaced or discontinued, the prices softened and came back down again to as low as $30,000. Notice that it didn't really hit the 25,000 mark that was there just a few months before the Watches and Wonders event. Now, using the same example and seeing the growth of Daytona over the last 1 year will tell you more stories and insights into how the watch market is operating. In December 2021, that is just 6 months ago, the same Daytona Panda was trading at around $35,000 to $38,000. And this is exactly the point where the prices started to soar and rise, probably not incredibly, rather crazily. In just 2 months, the same 2022 Daytona Panda was selling or being listed for high 50s and as high as $57,000 to $58,000. This is about 35 to 40% rise in value in a matter of just 2 months. Same was the case with John Mayer Daytona. The prices shot in a matter of just 2 months and rose from $75,000 to up to $130,000. Now, if you look back from December to February, there's no real reason for this hyper price inflation beyond pure hype and some fear of missing out causing buyers to panic. Another very good example is Royal Oak 15500. It was trading at around $70,000 for blue dial and low 50s for black and other non-blue dials. In February, while the 15202 Jumbo was discontinued, the 15500 was actually not discontinued at all. Yet the prices in the same week for them spiked to above 100k for blue dial 15500 and low 80s for the non-blue dials. This was truly crazy, as a watch that is confirmed to not have even been discontinued, rising 35% in price within the same week for no real reason, was an utter shameless example of artificial inflation, price rise and price manipulation without any basis or supporting stats. This was not sustainable, and while there were pieces listed for these prices, they were not moving for large majority of sellers. Hence the reason the price correction and a pullback was bound to happen. Now we know that the prices have come down a fair bit, at least 20 to 25%. If you look and analyze closely, the prices are still much higher than the prices in December 2021, that is, just 6 months ago, and still far higher than the prices of watches from last year this time. So whether the bubble has really popped or is the market collapsing? Well, not really. Will the prices continue to go down? That is something that no one can confirm, but it is obviously possible. Will the prices drop below the last year's prices as well? Again, it is possible, but I would say it is extremely unlikely. This year, the only difference that somehow has impacted the prices more than last year is the ongoing war that puts uncertainty and reluctance in the buyer's mind. Then China, being one of the biggest market, not being able to actively trade due to COVID-related lockdowns, has also impacted the prices more than expected. Does this mean that the prices are going to collapse or maybe drop below like never before? Again, no one can confirm, but I personally think it is very unlikely. So are the watch prices at the bottom of the spectrum, and is it a good time to buy? Well, the prices of the watches are still too high, and the prices today are still much higher than the prices in just January this year. I personally think that it is unlikely that there is going to be a significant drop in prices any further, but it is obviously possible. So would you say that it is a good time to buy and stock up? There may be a slight drop or stagnant price for a while, but in my opinion that the prices next year this time will be a lot more than what they are today. Can anyone guarantee that? Well, no, definitely not. Only time will tell. If you are buying a watch to enjoy it on the wrist, then I think you are at no loss. You buy it, you wear it, and enjoy it while further enjoying to see how your watch appreciates in value. It is likely that the prices will start to recover from this point on, and if they do, it is a cherry on top. But if they don't, well, you have a watch to enjoy on the wrist, and sooner or later, the market will recover eventually. And the prices we saw in February this year will start to look cheap in future. This is because watches will continue to appreciate in a longer term. It is only the fake and artificial spike in prices that has resulted in the drop. But if you look at watches over the last 10 years, they have stood the test of times and they have continued to appreciate in value. There's things like collectability in luxury watches that really defines their value and makes them appreciate with time. What are your thoughts on the recent roller coaster of watch prices? They shot up to sky and then plummeted to ground within a matter of just few months. And when you look back, there was no real reason for the insane spike in prices in the first place. Many of the pieces that rose to sky were never actually even discontinued and can still be had at retail. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this format of video, drop the feedback below and I will share more insights with you in future.